Today, I got a value-packed video for y'all today. We are going to be hopping on a Zoom call here in a bit with a top 1% agency owner named Stephen Johnston. He scaled his agency way past 7 figures and is currently doing north of 400K per month with his agency. He's won awards for his company, growing it really fast and everything. And this value is packed with a lot of value, and he gives you a different perspective from an agency owner that achieved things that a lot of people in this space haven't achieved. So make sure you watch this video from start to end so you can get the full spectrum of all the value that he's put into this video. Make sure you take what he said and take his advice, because honestly, the things that he's been saying in this video, it touched me and it gave me a different perspective of how to pursue my agency journey. So I thank him a lot for that. So, all right, guys, we're here with Stefan, and he has a multi-7-figure agency in the chiropractic space. He also has earned himself a spot in the Inc. 5000 as one of the fastest growing companies in the United States. And quite frankly, he has probably one of the most compelling stories in the agency space that I've heard to date. And today he was kind enough to hop on here to answer some questions for us and talk a little bit about his story. So thank you for that. It means a lot to me, man.
Of course.
Yeah, so let's start. Just explain a little bit about your background before you got started into started making your agency. How was that?
Yeah, so basically I did the whole college thing. Went to Arizona State and got out of college. Didn't know shit. I was terrible at school. Always have been, but basically ended up just working in the restaurant sort of industry, obviously just to figure things out. That got pretty painful in terms of not really having any freedom. My choices were very limited based on where I could eat, what I could do, stuff like that. And I had no skills too. So I had absolutely no skills. And so it basically just got to a point where I had a little bit of background in marketing, actually, because my roommate had an apparel company. We all played rugby in college, and it was actually pretty good. And so I was familiar with content, Instagram, some ads. Didn't really know much about it, but I knew about it. And so when I had the opportunity to invest in Ty Lopez's courses a long time ago, I don't think it exists anymore. I jumped all over it and then pretty much went head first.
Okay, nice. So that's how you got into the agency. It wasn't like a thing that you always wanted to do. It was a business model that you stumbled upon them.
No, when Ty Lopez's ad basically said you can get 10 clients paying you $1,000 a month, I was like, bet, let's run it.
Yeah, nice. So where you're at with your agency, you scaled it past multi-7 figures. You're making I'm guessing what, 400K a month revenue with it?
Yeah, we do north of 400K. Ad spend's not included. So make sure anyone who talks numbers, if you're ever going to take advice from them, you understand that their revenue is real revenue and it's not ad spend. That's just a side note.
Okay. So I'd say that you're in the top 1% of agency owners. You're experiencing that a lot of people that try to get into this business model don't experience. You experience 0 to 10K, 10 to 50K, 50 to 100K, and so on. What were, and every single revenue goal that you set from like 0 to 10, 10 to 50, what were some of the hurdles that you had to overcome specifically to get to that next level with your agency?
So it's a good question. I mean, each step has its own plateau, which is in itself a huge learning lesson as an agency owner and as a business owner. And so I could honestly go deep into each one, and we'd probably have to be here all day. But if I was saying from 0 to 10K, that was one of the toughest ones. 0 to 10K was extremely tough because you don't know shit. You have no skills. You have no confidence. You don't know how to sell. You don't know how to write anything. You don't know anything. And so you're just kind of out there, just kind of taking concepts from people that you think may work. And then you try them and they don't work. and then you're not sure if it's you or the whole thing's just fucked up. It's a crazy sort of roller coaster in that front end. So from 0 to 10K, it's really just niching down,
Mm-hmm.
getting good at one thing. So one service offering, for example, Facebook ads or whatever it's going to be, right? And niching down, do anything you can to get your clients. I don't care if it's the first ones are free. I don't care if it's $200 a month. At the end of the day, you don't know shit. So
Mm-hmm.
you have to get the clients so that you can then practice on them and figure out how to actually help them, because no one's going to continue paying you if you can't actually help them. And so the first part is niche down, get some clients, even if it's free, figure out how to actually help them.
Mm-hmm.
And then once you figure out a framework that works, then you can actually duplicate it and then start to get paid for it. So that'd be my first tip. Through that portion of 0 to 10K, you're also going to learn how to talk to people. You're going to learn how to sell.
Mm-hmm.
And get a lot of rejection, so your skin's going to get a little bit thicker.
Yeah.
And ideally, you're just going to get better at the fundamentals and the basics of whatever you're doing. So if it's Facebook ads, Google ads, stuff like that, you're really just getting familiarized with the basics of like copywriting, pixels, targeting, audience, offers. You're
Mm-hmm.
just getting familiar with it all, right? And then from 10 to 50K, I mean, that's where you get, the skills around that are going to be one, knowing how to niche down even further, knowing how to sell even better. I think nowadays your offer is going to have a big component in getting to 50K. Your ability to hire the right people at the right time.
Mm-hmm.
And the biggest component out of all of them is once you can actually deliver service and bring people in, it's going to be developing your skill set around retention.
Okay.
Retention is a critical component to not only 10K, but 50K and all the way to whatever you're desired to be at. Retention is a huge component of that.
Okay. And I like how you pretty much said that like 0 to 10K is like learning in and honing in on those skills that you're learning, whether it's the type of offer that you're doing, whether it's Facebook or Google ads or anything like that. I notice a lot of people on YouTube, or a lot of gurus on YouTube, they have the model of when you're a beginner, hire a media buyer right away. And it's kind of like a freelance arbitrage where you're selling somebody else's work for you.
Yeah.
But would you recommend for beginners to learn to advertise themselves before they hire somebody, or is the other route of hiring a media buyer right away the route to go?
Yeah, I'm not saying there's probably several ways to end up to where you want to be, if that's like building a $1 million agency. However, the way I did it is I was really scrappy from the very beginning. I realized that I didn't have a lot of money in my bank account, and that instinctually I was going to learn every component of the agency because it was do or die. And it was either figure this shit out, which my instincts were telling me get really good at ads, get really good at sales, get really good at email product, get really good at fucking everything. Because if not, then you're just going to go back to working in the restaurant. So that was not an option for me. And so my advice would be, to be honest, till I was doing 20K a month, I was doing everything. And I had one VA paying $400 a month, and that was still because I was just like, how much money can I have in my bank account to like survive if everything goes wrong, so I can just never go back? That's where I came from a place of pain. And so instinctually, right from the beginning, it was, I don't trust anyone to do anything. I'm going to do it all, which was the best decision ever. Because one, I stacked cash in the bank early on. And then two, when I did hire, I knew how to train. I knew what was going to be the standard, and no one could bullshit me or anything like that. So that's my recommendation.
Okay. Yeah, I like that. Have you dealt with burnout during your whole journey? If so, like how did you overcome it? Like since you said you were doing everything from 0 to 20K, I'd
Yeah.
assume that you were just overwhelmed every day, but
Well,
obviously that's something that you were prepared for. So how did you mitigate trying to avoid burnout? And if you did, how did you overcome it?
so in the early stages, there was no such thing as burnout because
Hmm.
again, the the consequences of not figuring it out was going back to making $14 an hour, making
Hmm.
food and shit. So there was no burnout. Like it was literally like the opposite because the burnout was going back to working working the job.
Yeah.
So I think a big takeaway here is if you're pain, if the pain of you doing the work and doing the follow up and figuring it out and getting shitted on is more than what it was when you're working your job, then you're just going to end up back at your job. So burnout in the beginning didn't exist because there was no other option. Now, nowadays,
Hmm.
burnout exists. Why? Because I have options. Like I have options. Like literally right now, I could be anywhere in the world doing whatever the fuck I want,
Yeah.
doing whatever I want. And I still like to have fun and do a bunch of shit. So if
Mhm.
burnout does exist, it's maybe because I have other options, you
Yeah.
know, and
Yeah.
there's a lot more comfort. But
Hmm.
how I handle it nowadays is I'm real with myself. So like right now I'm on 75 hard. I'm on like day 40 out of 75. This
Hmm.
lifestyle isn't sustainable. Just keep going, going, going because it's very fucking intense. Um, but after you might catch me anywhere. You might
Hmm.
catch me in Italy. Who knows where the fuck I'm going? But um, and then I'll enjoy life and I'll still have the gas on, but I'll be like, you know, I'll be not as intense as I am now. And then I'll get fed up with that sort of lifestyle. And then I'll get back into a super intense mode. And I'm not saying how I do it is the right way to do it.
Hmm.
Um, that's just how I have been doing it. And that's just where I am today.
I respect that. I like that. I respect that. If there was like, if you was to start over and go back to square one, knowing what you have, with knowing the amount of knowledge that you have now about your business, is there anything you would have done differently, or would you have done it the exact same way that got you to where you at now?
Um, all right, let's see. Anything that I would have done differently.
Yeah.
Man. Other than getting started earlier, obviously that doesn't count. But
Hmm.
anything what I've done differently. I I I probably would have been I would have gotten confident taking more risk earlier on.
Yeah.
Remember, like I had this sort of mindset earlier on where I was like, if I could put 100K in my bank, then I can survive for like I it was like more of like this survival mode. And now
Hmm.
I don't think that way. Now I'm more in playing chess and using money as a tool to create more scale and stuff like that. But I guess earlier on, I would have probably just stopped being such a pussy, and I probably would have started running ads earlier. I probably would have created better offers earlier. Again,
Hmm.
this is all just due to fear, fear setting in, and fuck, what if I lose 10K or what if I lose 20K? Like that type of mindset. Um,
Hmm.
I think I would have just gotten comfortable with accepting that money's just a tool earlier on, if that helps.
Okay. Yeah. And when I was watching your videos on your channel as well, there was I think you said that you had like 25 plus employees in your agency, right?
Yeah.
How do you go on with maintaining and sustaining company culture and because what you do something special that I seen that you like, you do things for them, and it's the video that I watched where you had a team meeting every morning and the energy that's within that meeting.
Yeah.
What are the things that you do to make sure that the amount of employees that you have are happy and are willing to work hard for you consistently?
Yeah, it's a great question. So first off, if you're gonna build if your goal is to build a legit agency that's like gonna actually be top 1% and even more above that, company culture is gonna be a big part of that, because it's already really hard to get to that number. And so initially from the recruiting and hiring process, we're very transparent on who we are, what we do, and what the goal is, like right from the beginning. And so our interview process is super intense. We obviously have our values in the company. We have our purpose. We let them know, just what the standards are and who we are. Because I don't know if you could tell kind of who I am through my character and through my energy, but I am myself. And so if people don't vibe with sort of the intensity, but at the same time we can have fun, but at the same time no bullshit, high standards, and it's gonna already be a good fit to begin with. We've done wrong hirings where people were actually way too sensitive for our type of culture and it just didn't last. So first it's finding the right people. From there, I mean, realistically, if you're going to be setting goals, you got to incentivize people. A players usually are money motivated for the most part, and you have to incentivize them to hit the goals, right? You also have to pay. I believe you have to pay above the average, pay above the market average. So when you pay above and then you incentivize, and then you're constantly training and helping develop them as a person, I think that's how you get people to work hard, you get people to be a part of the journey, because at the end of the day, people need purpose. So they need to feel like all the work they're doing has a purpose and that it's actually valued. And that's super important, is that what they know exactly what they're doing, how it fits in the model, why it's so important. They're recognized for great performance, they're incentivized for great performance. And all the cherries on top is like, hey, this quarter we're going to here, we're going here, everyone gets flown out, Airbnb, shooting guns, going on yachts, like that type of stuff. I mean, that's just my sort of play on it, because I like to do that too. So
That's dope. I like that. That's cool.
yeah.
Yeah. Is it like you're like, again, explaining how when I was what I first said earlier, you're in a like top 1% of agency owners, if not less than that. Did you ever see yourself in a position that you're at now with your agency when you first started, with having 25 plus employees, scaling your agency past 7 figures, and the amount of goals and things that you've achieved by then? Did you ever see yourself doing that?
No. So in the beginning, no, because in the beginning you don't know anything, right? It's survival mode. For me, it was survival mode in the beginning, like legit. Like, how can I literally just survive? So I can kind of, it was all selfish, very like selfish survival, scrappy. So I couldn't see that far out. And then as you go through along and as you start to become addicted to learning more and finding out the truth and what's going to be your route to where you need to go, given that you are growth oriented, meaning like you get to 10K and then you're, what's next? 50K, what's next? Like, I naturally just have that in me. So I think once we got right around, I think right when we got around like 70K, and then right around that area is when I realized, I can pretty much build something pretty big. And it was never 8-figure then, because that was like way over the top of the head. Even at that point, once I got right around like 120K, I realized that 100% we have the possibility to build, pretty good business that we can eventually sell, to be honest. So right now I'm building my agency to be able to sell it.
Okay.
That's that's the structure. So the maturity level there and the way of thinking there and how we make decisions and how structured everything is. That was the route I chose because I don't know, just naturally inclined to who I was at the time, what I was reading and who I was following and stuff like that.
Okay. Well, last question, and then I'm gonna let you head out since you're about have to go soon. So I'm 21 years old as myself, and I'm sure a lot of people that's watching this is either around the same age or younger. That is trying to start their age, not trying to start, but started their agency. I have 2 clients currently, and it's trying to get to that 10K mark, the first mark, right?
Yeah.
Is there one advice that sticks out to you that could be very useful and helpful to someone or anybody that's in a position I'm in or people that are watching this that you could give?
One piece of advice to people doing under 10K on how to get to 10K. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's probably going to be like, I might kind of bring some layers in here, but so the first thing is, to get to 10K, I would say the market and the niche you choose is going to be super important. And then the service that you offer is going to be very important. And you got to have a service in a market that is like desirable. Like it needs to be something that is definitely in high demand. So in your case, you're generating you're getting contractors like home remodelers more leads, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so right there, that's a niche that, are you doing Facebook ads?
Yeah, I am.
Okay, so that's a niche that can afford the service, right? Okay, so if you're gonna get to 10K, what I would say first is stick to that niche, don't go anywhere, because that's a niche that 1 year from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, they're still gonna need more qualified leads, right? So I'd stick to it. If you're at 2 clients, I would almost literally make your offer such a no-brainer that even if you're getting paid pennies, you're further developing your service and your offering so that once you can get some case studies, now you have a place of proof to like sell from. And then you can from there increase your prices, right? That would be kind of one strategy I would do. Outside of that, meaning like have an offer that you can get people in, you can start to build relationships, you can start to really strengthen your skills and your delivery. Now you build case studies. Now when you go again, you can increase your prices because now you have real stuff to reflect from and you know what the hell you're talking about. That should get you to 10K a month. Now the ingredients under that are going to be, you need to learn how to focus and actually work. When I was first getting started, I didn't really know how to work. I didn't really know how to focus. I was avoiding all the shit that really needed to be done. And truly knowing how to work, doing the work, and then hitting that sort of strategy that I just described would probably be the way I do it. If I was in your shoes, I had 1 client and I was already niched down, I would say, all right, here we go. I'm gonna prospect him, get as more as possible. Almost even, I'm gonna try to do it for money, but if I have to do it for free, that's fine. Obviously, everyone has their own situations in terms of what bills they have to pay, but I'd get it in and I would figure it out, because really what you're trying to do is get clients real results, so then you can see that there's validity in what you're doing. And then from there, once you have validity, now you have confidence. Now when you're prospecting and you talk to a prospect, it's like, hey, we can do this for you. And if you're not happy, then we'll literally refund you. How about that? So now you bring more people in. And then obviously your goal is to retain more of them. That should get you to 10K. Like that should get you to 10K.
Okay. Yeah, I appreciate that. Well, thank you so much again for hopping on here, answering some questions. It means a lot, especially with somebody that's has as busy of a schedule as you. So thank you again. I really appreciate that, and I hope you have the rest of hope you have a great rest
Yeah,
of
bro.
the day.
Awesome. Sounds good, Kino.
Yep.
Peace,
Cool.
bro.